there's so many reasons that I think it's very hard to be a college student these days, and it's hard to be happy. And some of it also, there's been changes over time. I think my generation, we're like, we loved college. Well, I think it wasn't as great as maybe we remember, but it really, it really were great years, and we couldn't wait to get away from our parents. The good news is, Jean Twenge in her book iGen, which is a really great book, has shown lots of really great data that, high school students these days look a lot younger, right? So 12th graders are looking more like 8th graders did in terms of how much time they spend with friends, whether they work outside of home, and also even things like driving, but also like dating, having sex, using drugs and alcohol and smoking. Some of these are good changes. Some of them are not so good, and and kids of course are spending a lot more time on smartphones and social media and less time face to face with people, and so that might be contributing to when they get to college. They maybe are a little bit more sheltered and have spent less time kind of like just with friends or outside the home. And it's sort of a harder transition if they are living at college. Of course, it might be different if they're living at home. And then, of course, and I've been thinking about this a lot, digital media, social media, texting is really changing social relationships. I mean, this is just one of my main interests these days, is sort of because I'm interested in connection, and I think it's very important. Obviously, critical to happiness is to connect with other people. You can absolutely connect via texting and FaceTime and so even social media, but it's just sort of not the same. One kind of obvious argument is that human beings were hardwired to connect in person. In person when you have eye contact, when you have smell, when you have touch, when you have voice, of course, gesture, and those kinds of features are eroded sort of the more the less you have them, and sort of various features of sort of digital connection. And so that's also contributed, I think, to some difficulties that college students have. And then, of course, there's lots of stresses. There's a lot of more pressure and stress on at least sort of a segment of the student population to sort of succeed and do really well. And college is hard, anyway, so I think there's lots and lots of pressures, and there's a mental health crisis, as we know. Lots of, I think basically every college in the U.S. seems to be overwhelmed with that, and lots of factors that go into that. So I think having students learn strategies to basically to be happier, to have more positive emotion in their lives, to connect better with their friends and others, I really think it's important I think it's going to help them not only sort of feel better, but also just be more productive and to sort of be a more successful student, which I think most of them want to be.